everyone, Mama Mike here, and today is a quick video. This is comparing the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller to other controllers that have recently come out with other consoles. So this will just be the Wii U, the Joycon grip, which also comes with the Nintendo Switch, and then the PS4 and the Xbox One controllers, just so we can compare overall the sort of size and feel of these controllers. And if you're on the fence about getting one of these, they are sold out right now for the most part, but if you are considering getting one of these, this will hopefully give you a good idea of what to expect from it. So first, comparing it to the Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip. This is what comes with your Nintendo Switch. You'll either get the gray Joy-Cons or the red and blue, depending on which one you ordered. But you can see right off the bat, the buttons on this one are much smaller than on the Pro Controller, and the controller overall is smaller than the Pro Controller. It's also very lightweight, and an issue that I had just right away with it is that while it's comfortable enough in the hand, my fingers were hitting the back of the Joy-Cons back here, just because I had, mid-length fingernails at the time that I was opening it. And it is just a little bit uncomfortable that these go so far back. It almost reminded me of the chat pad on the Xbox 360 controllers, having the big keyboard on there. I don't know how I played with that for so long. But so it just is, this controller is nice overall, it's comfortable. The buttons are good, they click very nicely, but they are rather small. And overall, it's not the most comfortable controller for long-term play sessions. And while it has a good weight to it, the Pro Controller is much more towards the weight of like a PS4 Xbox One controller. And the shape of it is much closer to one of those. First thing, we've got the buttons, which are almost more of a matte feel to them. They're not glossy like the Xbox One buttons, so your fingers don't slip off of them, which is really nice, and they're a nice large size. We have a really great D-pad over here, and we have some nice grippies on the analog sticks. And we also have large bumpers and triggers in the front, which click very nicely. And then we have grips on the side here. It's a very subtle grip. It's not even like a rubberized finish, but you can very much tell the difference between kind of the smooth part up here and the grips down here. So comparing it now to like a Wii U Pro Controller, this controller extremely lightweight. It might even be lighter than the Joy-Con in the grip. It actually is. It's a little bit lighter than the two Joy-Cons in the grip. So this is a very lightweight controller, which isn't a bad thing, but the top of it was all gloss, which made my hands a little bit uncomfortable for longer play sessions, just made your hands sweaty very quickly. The bottom of it was matte, not grippy, but it was matte, so that part was nice, and your fingers fit very nice. They're not hitting anything down here. The shape of this controller overall was very good. I liked the size of the triggers and the bumpers. The analog sticks, while I prefer the offset analog sticks, these felt comfortable in the hand because they were just so high up on the controller, so I liked that quite a bit. And once again, we had sort of the matte buttons and D-pad. The Wii U Pro Controller overall is a great controller, and I like it quite a bit. I do really enjoy using this on the Wii U, especially for Mario Kart, although I use my Peach Fight Pad the most because I just love that controller. But this is a really nice controller, but comparing it to the Switch Pro Controller, I prefer this one immensely. First thing, again, the weight of it is much better, and it's got the grip and the larger triggers and bumpers. And also, too, the Wii U Pro Controller doesn't have the grip on the sides of the analog stick. It has this nice lip on it so that your fingers do sit nicely in it, but it's also, your fingers don't sit as deep in these as on the Pro Controller, and it doesn't have the gripping on the side. Okay, comparing it next to a PS4 controller, and this is the one that came with my Batman PS4, so that's why it is silver. And the PS4 controller is fantastic. A very comfortable controller in the hand. It has got some nice grippies on the bottom here. It just overall feels very nice. And your fingers sit nice and deep in the analog sticks, which I really enjoy. The triggers on this are good, perfect size. And the buttons on the front are not too smooth or too shiny, they're just overall very nice. This one has the disjointed D-pad, which I do really like, and that's something that I liked about the Joy-Cons in the grip, but the buttons were so small that it really didn't feel much like a D-pad. It was just awkward to use in that configuration. The only thing that I don't like about the PS4 controller is the placement of the analog sticks. Like I said with the Wii U controller, I didn't mind the analog sticks being directly in a line like that because they were up higher on the controller. But with the PS4 controller, I just always start to get a cramp in my thumbs if I have a longer play session, just because of that placement. My hands are much more comfortable either having my thumbs, up here in line with each other, or having the kind of broken up analog sticks where one's high up and one's low down. But that's my only complaint with the PS4 controller, and that really doesn't come into play unless I have an extended play session, like I'm sure I will when Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy comes out, because I'm going to be playing that a lot. Alright, and lastly, comparing it to the Xbox One controller, which I think overall is my favorite controller of this sort of generation of consoles. It's the most comfortable to me. It has my favorite analog sticks because it has extra grip on the sides and your fingers are very well inset. And then too, it has the oversized triggers and bumpers, which I really like, and they have a really good click to them. The buttons are glossy, so depending on the game, your fingers can slip off of them easily, but that all depends on what game you're playing as well. But overall, I love the Xbox One controller. I love all of these controllers if I'm being truthful. But comparing this one to the Switch controller, this one might be the most like the Switch controller in terms of the very large triggers and bumpers, and the level of sort of depth to the analog sticks, how far your fingers kind of sit in the analog sticks, and also the grip on the outer edge of the analog sticks is most similar to what we see on the Xbox One controller. And the overall shape, the roundness sort of this piece is a lot like the PS4 controller, but the overall shape of this controller is definitely much more similar to the Xbox One controller design. And it is very comfortable in the hand. If you've held this controller, you have a really good idea of what this one's going to feel like in the hand. This one has the matte bumpers and triggers, while the Xbox One controller has shiny bumpers and triggers. And overall, I like this one better in that regard, because I like the matte buttons, I like the matte D-pad and all the triggers and bumpers up here. Overall, I really like the feel of this controller in the hand. I like the level of grip that it has. The weight, as I said, it's definitely between the PS4 and the Xbox One controller. I think it's just right in the middle there in terms of weight. And just the overall feel in the hand, very comfortable, and it's a lot like the Xbox One controller. If you have held one of these before, then you'll know pretty much what you're going to get with this one. It's just a little bit less angular on kind of these ends of it. So let me know in the comments below if you've picked up the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller and what you think about it. And also let me know too, of the controllers that we went over, which one is your favorite? I think for sure my favorite controller overall is the Xbox One controller, and I think that's also why I like the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller so much, because it really does skew towards that end of the spectrum, and I like it quite a bit. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!